Hey, how's it going, everyone? Outlaw Client here, back once again with the weekly podcast zone. That's right, guys, we finally have a title for our podcast after our 10 minutes of brainstorming. Anyway, in last week's episode, we spoke a bit about the PS5 reveal and the game showcase. We gave our critical analysis, and in this week, I'll be checking out the Xbox July Games Showcase. And once again, joining me, I have TakuStarr with me.
Hey guys, I'm back.
And me and TakuStarr will just be looking over Xbox's July gameplay showcase, and also, of course, we can't get through it without comparing it to PS5, so we'll have to do that. But anyway, starting things off, or going right into it, we had the introduction of Master Chief and pretty much the Halo Infinite showcase, which shows a quick CGI trailer, I guess, with Master Chief's armor being assembled and everything. Looked pretty cool. Again, it wasn't quite actual gameplay, but it was a nice little trailer that was leading up to Halo Infinite. TakuStarr, any real impressions on that? I know it was only like a quick CGI trailer, or were you able to see that part? Or
I saw the CGI and the gameplay trailer. So the CGI part, I thought that's probably one of the prettiest games I've seen.
Yeah.
Like if that was in game and it's going to be run like that when the console comes, that's amazing.
Exactly, yeah. So, same as well, same. But nowadays you can never tell. Like they always fuse the CGI into the gameplay, so you can never be too sure. But anyway, going straight into the game, of course. With the PS5 reveal, Sony started with a heavy hitter, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and likewise Microsoft started with their big heavy hitter, aka Halo Infinite. Now, of course, this being the heavy hitter, and I'm actually a huge Halo fan in general, so I was really highly anticipating this game. I think we should start off with the good, because I have a lot to say about this game. A lot positive and maybe a lot not so positive. So I'll just say that I thought the gameplay style looked great. Like it had Master Chief with pretty much started off where the E3 trailer left off, with Master Chief landing on the new Halo ring, and then it went on to show a bit of gameplay and stuff. And the positives, I think, is that the gameplay, it reminded me a ton of Combat Evolved, which is, of course, the very first Halo game. Just in case you guys aren't too aware about Halo games, or maybe you're a Sony guy and you just decide to check this Microsoft discussion out. But they decided to go back to their roots and make it like Halo Combat Evolved. The soundtrack sounded very similar to the original score of the trilogy. Martin O'Donnell, who was the original composer of the Halo trilogy, that sounded pretty cool. And also some of the gameplay as well, like the grappling hook and equipment. That was really cool. It looked like they were bringing stuff back from Halo 3 as well. So it looked like they were taking a few things from a lot of the past Halo games. Now, TakuStarr, I know you're not really a huge Microsoft guy, and I can imagine you haven't tried out too much of Halo. But as someone who...
I mean, I have played the Halo stuff. I mean, I've played 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, nice.
And I did play a bit of ODST. Like, I did used to play a lot of Halo when I was a bit younger. Just because I think Halo was like one of the first FPSs I ever played in. Playing with my cousins, like multiplayer. So I've got a bit of history with Halo. It's just I kind of dropped when I didn't buy an Xbox One. I just stopped really caring about Halo.
Understandable. Well, I mean, I'll let you know that you didn't miss out too much. Halo 4 and 5 on Xbox One. I'll leave that discussion for another day. But what were your first impressions just seeing this game?
So looking at the game, I mean, I haven't played a Halo game since ODST, so I thought the CGI trailer hooked me in, because I was like, yo, the graphics look really nice, and it looked in game, and just looking at me after having played the first Halo back on Xbox, the original Xbox, and then seeing this game, it shows the jump that the series has had.
Yeah.
So I was quite nostalgic in that sense, and obviously with the series, being shown in like new graphics, the new graphics for Xbox Series, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
If I do get an Xbox, I'm definitely am gonna go back to playing Halo. Definitely.
Yeah, no. Halo seems like the system seller for this console, but
yeah.
I did mention a few of those positives, but moving more towards the negative. I mean, again, like I was saying, the gameplay looked really good for me, in my opinion. It reminded me a lot of like Combat Evolved and the classic ones, but moving on to some of the negatives. Now, the graphics look decent, but unfortunately for like the new Halo game, the graphics they weren't amazing. I mean, I don't know if I was watching at some points. I didn't know if I was watching Halo Infinite or a new advert for Rice Krispies, because I saw snap, crackling, and popping during some of the graphics there. Like there was a point when Chief was like going up the lift, and it was like the clouds were like disappearing and stuff. It was a bit strange. I mean, again, if the gameplay is good, I don't really mind. Nintendo gets away with it, so you know, not the most cutting edge graphics, but if it's a decent game, if there's decent gameplay there, then I'll be there. But it's just the fact that they're advertising the Series X as like the most powerful console ever to hit shelves, and you know, that was just a bit of a letdown. It looked kind of similar to 4 and 5 in a way, but I can imagine if you haven't played the game since the classics, then it looked like a huge step up. But it's just I was expecting a bit more for the most powerful console in the world. I think near the end as well, I think when that in case if you guys aren't aware, the main brute, which is the like the ape-like enemies that charged at Chief, near the end, after the gameplay segment, we had like a speech from the big bad. You know, his name was Atriox, is one of the main villains in Halo Wars. And I have to admit, if you haven't really played Halo Wars, then you'd kind of be. I can imagine a lot of people would be kind of confused, like what on earth is going on? Who is this guy making this speech, and why should I care? But the Atriox speech was a bit too much, I think, especially for those who aren't too familiar with the series. And again, like I was saying, they wouldn't really care too much. But just in case you aren't aware, Atriox is like the main enemy in the Halo Wars games, which is, funnily enough, it's like an entirely different genre. Like it's a real-time strategy compared to the normal Halos, which are, of course, all first-person shooters. So yeah, I think that was a bit too much. But overall, it might be a bit controversial, but I think I definitely enjoyed a lot more than I didn't enjoy. I mean, the graphics was the real letdown for me, but other than that, I thought it looked like a decent game. How about yourself, TakuStarr?
I thought everything was a good way to start the show, and big franchise. You know, I think it showcased just how much the series has evolved. So yeah, especially for someone like me who hasn't played it in ages, that, you know, I'd be hyped.
Yeah.
If I was an Xbox fan.
Yeah, understandable. Like we're saying, that is the big system seller there. That's pretty much Microsoft's reason for enticing people to buy the new console. So there's that.
It's unfortunate now with the release date being pushed back.
Exactly, yeah. So I was going to mention that was another huge thing. So it was supposed to be a launch date release, but it was unfortunately pushed back into 2021. A lot of people that I've been hearing from, like insiders, are saying that there's complete chaos in 343's the developer 343's in the office. There's a lot of chaos, poor management. There's a lot of designers that are like essentially just leaving, like doing the coding and then leaving, and then new people are coming in and they have to they have to work with the code that they haven't been properly taught how to how to use. So
maybe some of those devs are going to retro studios and working on the Metroid.
Yeah, well, I can hope so. Huge Metroid fan here, so that wouldn't be upsetting for me. I mean, I'll probably be 50-50 torn. Like I am a Halo fan as well, so yeah. But no, that's pretty much everything I wanted to get out of the way. I know our Halo section is probably going to be the largest, but that's mostly because this was like the heavy hitter of the entire event. So there's that. But no, I haven't really got too much else to add. Looking forward to playing Halo. Again, it's a shame that it's delayed, but at the end of the day, delayed game will definitely, well, I hope it would play better than a game that's just rushed out. So yeah, we can all look forward to that. Anyway, so next up we had a little talk from Phil Spencer, and again just mentioning the standard stuff you'd hear from the CEOs about how These games are bringing in a lot of next-gen stuff to the table. However, I think the biggest thing to take away from Phil Spencer's little speech there was the fact that all of the games will be available on Game Pass. Now, in case if you aren't aware, Xbox are scrapping their Xbox Live Gold scheme. So it's going to be like everything is going to be in Game Pass. So if you want to play online, it's all going to be part of Game Pass. And pretty much all of these games that you see, all games going forward, including Halo Infinite on launch, they will be available on Game Pass. So if you're paying the like $10.99 or no, sorry, $10 for Game Pass, or £8 if you're here in the UK. But no, if you're paying that monthly fee, then you will be able to play Halo on launch. So, not only Halo, but every single game in the showcase at launch. So that was a pretty cool feature. I think was a really decent, a really good selling point for the Xbox. But anyway, Taku, did you get to see any of Phil Spencer's?
No, I just looked at the games, like I said beforehand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, understandable. I mean, you didn't really miss much. I mean, that was just his quick point that he made. Plus, they kind of mentioned it again at the end. So yeah, but no, I guess the games, that's the important part. We're gamers here. We just want to see those games.
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on to the next game after Halo, we have Forza Motorsport. Now, kind of like with the Gran Turismo discussion in the last podcast, not too much to say once again. Now, whenever they talk about games being shown in engine and showing off the graphics, of course, it's always going to be, those car games are going to be, or the driving simulators are definitely going to come out. It's just a fact of gaming, or facts of gaming events. Whenever they talk about graphics, you know a racing simulator is going to pop up next. In terms of like comparisons to Gran Turismo, I've always thought that Forza's like slightly ahead. I know a lot of the racing simulator enthusiasts always say that they prefer Forza over Gran Turismo. But once again, they're kind of similar for me. I don't know too much of a difference, but yeah, Forza is quite impressive. I always find the graphics quite impressive. Once again, I didn't know of any features that are different from the previous games, maybe because I haven't played the games enough, but either way, graphics look really good from what I saw. What do you think, TakuStarr? Are you a huge racing simulator enthusiast as well?
No, as I said in the last episode we done, yeah, me and you we don't really play racing simulators or driving simulators. So yeah, I mean, in terms of technologically wise, they always look impressive regardless of what system they're on, and that's so I feel like Forza, like Gran Turismo, you know, it's a behemoth in terms of showing off the capabilities of the system. So
yeah,
I agree. I'm impressed by the tech.
Yeah, the technology always looks quite good. But yeah, no, if it's Mario Kart, we'll be there in a flash. But Forza and Gran Turismo, we like it, but we don't like it that much. Not day one buy. But anyway, so moving on from Forza, we have Everwild, and this is Rareware's newest entry or newest game. As soon as that Rare sign popped up, I just heard the Banjo-Kazooie fans going wild, but fortunately no Banjo-Kazooie today, because we had a bit of Everwild gameplay. Now, Everwild, I wasn't too sure what was going on. Well, it looked again like an exploration, like an action-adventure exploration type game, and we even had a bit from one of the developers talking about it. Once again, CGI trailers and no real gameplay, so I can't say too much once again, but it looked like an interesting concept, kind of drawing comparison to that last PS5 game that we saw, which I honestly can't remember of the name of it, but it looked like there were like small creatures surrounding the main character again, so maybe there'll be like some type of, I don't know, like RTS elements, kind of like Pikmin or something.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It reminded me a lot of sorry, carry on.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it was just, I know I'm drawing comparisons to Pikmin whenever there's like some tiny helper characters, but that's just the first thing that popped into my mind.
Yeah. Now I was just gonna say, it reminded me of Studio Ghibli films.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably in terms of this was probably my second favorite game they announced. Even though I don't know what the game looks like, but in terms of just from an aesthetic point of view, this is probably a game that I would like to, I'd probably get.
Yeah. No, I understand. That's the thing. Like a lot of these trailers, they just have really interesting concepts. But please, Microsoft, we just want some gameplay.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was Everwild, and it doesn't seem to be coming out anytime soon. But once again, just a short CGI trailer to give us a taste of what it might be about. So, moving on to a game that we do have a release date for is Tell Me Why, which I believe was releasing on August the 27th of this year. So, Tell Me Why seemed to be an episodic type game. Once again, mostly CGI trailer, but from what we could gather, or from what I could gather from the trailer, it just showed two children, I believe it was like a brother and sister, investigating or going back to it looked like a log cabin in the forest. It was like they were investigating previous events of their mother. It sounded as though their mother had committed some type of crime or was maybe hurting the children or something. But either way, this kind of seems like a storytelling thriller type game. And it looked like the main characters had some type of psychic powers as well. Kind of hard to tell, but that was definitely the vibe that I was getting from the trailer. So might be a bit of what do you call it? The Walking Dead meets man, I can't remember the name of the game with the psychic girl.
Life is Strange.
That's the one. Life is Strange meets Walking Dead. So that's the impression I was getting. But how about you? How about you, TakuStarr?
Yeah, that's the same impression I was getting as well. I think the game's from the same developers, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh right, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was gonna say Life is Strange was a really well received story game from what I saw as well.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it. So if it's in their hands, then I think I've got a bit more hope as well.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, this is going to be like an episodic game. So that was just the first chapter, but it's going to be out on August the 27th. So at least we've got something to look forward to this year, I guess. And again, which I forgot to mention as well, like Phil Spencer mentioned before, that all of the games will appear on not only Series X but also normal Xbox One X as well. So if you don't want to upgrade to the Series X yet, then you can play it on normal Xbox. And also in addition as well, a lot of these games are going to be on PC as well, if not all of them. So if you've got that Game Pass, then feel free to play it on any of those consoles. Yeah, that was pretty much all that I saw of Tell Me Why. Decent looking game, as I said. If it's the same developers as Life is Strange, then I'll probably check this one out. Anyway, so moving on. Well, actually, TakuStarr, you didn't have much else to add to this one, do you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, understandable. I don't have too much else to say either. So, without further ado, let's just move on to the next game. So, another one of Xbox's big titles, we have Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which was actually a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, but instead of showing any new gameplay, it was mostly just Moon Studios talking about how this is going to be like a remastered version of the Xbox One version of Will of the Wisps, and pretty much play at 120 frames per second and 4K HD. So again, same game that we'll be playing, but it's just much better performance, lower input latency. And me personally, I haven't tried any of the Ori games. I know that they're critically acclaimed, or critically and commercially acclaimed. Not up my alley, but I thought it was a pretty decent game. I know there will be a lot of fans, but again, nothing brand new. It wasn't a new entry in the series, so I don't know if you've played it already. I don't know if I think only the most dedicated of fans will end up double dipping with this one, but it looked decent. Again, another thing to note as well, you'd probably need everyone would probably need to upgrade to like a 4K TV in order to really see the difference. So, be a tough one, I guess. I say a tough sell, but there are those dedicated fans out there, and even people that haven't picked it up yet might get a bit tempted to try it out for the first time in the best quality possible. So yeah, there's always that. TakuStarr, you familiar with the Ori series?
No, I haven't played Ori. I haven't played any of the Ori games. I was about to confuse it of what was that game called? You play as like a wolf guy and you like.
Oh, was that Dust Elysian Tale?
Yeah. I played that.
Yeah. I definitely get the same vibes as well. Like when I first saw Ori and the Blind Forest, I thought, wait, is this like a spin-off of Dust? Because it kind of like the art style kind of looked similar, like not exactly the same, but I played a bit of that one and the little creature as well. Was it Fidget? And it made me think of it as well, and it's kind of like Metroidvania style game. So definitely, I can definitely see the comparison there. But who knows? This might be the game to entice you into the Xbox, into the Xbox line. So you never know. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. But how do you think? Did you get to see any?
I mean, with what I was looking at, they just showed me new games, so there wasn't any stuff that was released from before. I didn't even know this was a thing on the conference. So yeah.
I mean, understandable.
It's nice that it exists. So it just means more games on the system. So
yeah, it's true. A wider range of games to appeal to more people, I guess. So that's always cool to bring in the new fans, I guess. Anyway, so after Ori and the Will of the Wisps sequel, not the first one, guys, but after that we had the Outer Worlds, which is the first-person shooter. Not only is it coming to Series X and PC and Xbox One, but there's also, it's already out on Xbox One, but the main draw here was that there was a DLC pack known as Peril on Gorgon coming out on September the 9th, and this is the first of 2 DLC packs. Now, again, I haven't played Outer Worlds. You can get this on both the PS4 and Xbox One, so it's not exactly a console exclusive, but the new DLC pack, I have to double check if it was like a timed exclusive, but either way, it will be coming out on other consoles as well, but it was just more so an advertisement for the DLC coming later this year. Again, I personally haven't even played the Outer Worlds, so maybe I'll pick it up this time, who knows, but I know that it's quite a well-received game from the fans. I know fans will probably be quite looking forward to playing the new one, or the new DLC, I guess. So you can always pick it up on PS4 or Xbox. Just avoid the Switch version like the plague, because from what I've heard, I don't know how much you've heard of this game as well, TakuStarr, on Switch.
Yeah, it runs like crap.
It is not a pretty sight. It is not a pretty sight at all. So and it gets even worse in handheld mode. So again, by the way, Private Division, if you're watching this, this is just from what we've heard. So if you still want us to get some advertisement deals in for you, you can always call us. But anyway, that was just the advertisement for the Outer Worlds coming later this year on September the 9th. But another game also coming from Private Divisions is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets Ant Bully, aka Grounded. So Grounded pretty much followed the story of small children. I was actually kind of confused because there was a bit of gameplay, but I wasn't sure of like the main plot of the game or anything. But anyway, it just showed small, like tiny children. No idea why they're so small, or what's going on really. But one thing I did take away from the trailer is that I should probably wait for Cyberpunk later this year, because they mentioned about how that was the big game release of the year. So either way. But looking at Grounded itself, wasn't a game that hooked me. It was interesting, it was different, not something I'd seen before, as they mentioned, the smallest title of the year. But interesting take. And funnily enough, the game actually released on July the 28th, so this one is already out. So yeah, first game I believe in the past, other than like remakes, with Ori and Will of the Wisps, but the first game in the past in this showcase that's actually released already. So if you guys want to try that one out, you can you're free to pick it up now and just download it on normal Xbox One. TakuStarr, did you see any of this? Any of Grounded?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw a bit of Grounded. Yeah, it looked alright. It reminded me a lot of A Bug's Life. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
they're really tiny and it's a 3D like thing. So yeah, I mean, I probably would. I won't get it, but
yeah. It's again, it's just that game to add to the diversity. So
yeah,
you know, if small children and you know, if as I was saying, if Honey I Shrunk the Kids is your favorite film, and you've always wanted to get, you know, go in the following the footsteps of the Ant Bully kid, the one that got shrunk as well, then you know this might just be the game for you. Who knows? Anyway, so moving on from Grounded, we have Avowed. Avowed? Am I saying that right? Yeah, that's the one. Avowed by Obsidian Entertainment. Yeah, another Obsidian game. So once again, we had a CGI trailer. That's in case you guys are confused which one that is. That's the one where the soldier shot the arrow and it like the camera follows the arrow throughout the trailer, and right at the end we get a slight glimpse, just a little taste of gameplay, and it's starting to look a lot like Skyrim with the sword in their hand, and they seem to be casting magic or something. Either way, definitely draw the comparison to Skyrim, the Skyrim games, just the Elder Scroll games in general. So that's what I guess we can expect. But apart from that, not really too much else from the gameplay. But again, in terms of the actual narration and CGI, it looked like an interesting game. And we can't tell how detailed the mechanics are and everything. But I think if you're looking for Skyrim, a Skyrim type experience next gen, then this one might be right up your alley. What do you think of the trailer?
It looked cool. It's a first person, so you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, no, TakuStarr and FPS doesn't. Yeah. It's not a mixture made in heaven.
And in terms of I mean, I don't really like. I know people can hate this, but I'm not a big fan of like Skyrim and stuff like that, or Dragon Age, like. So yeah, I probably won't be a big fan of this, but if when it comes out and it does something new, I'll definitely will jump on and see what it's all about. But yeah, with these first-person RPGs, I'm always not really my thing.
Yeah, now understandable. As I was saying before as well, I'm all FPS'd out. It just seemed like there was one point where it was just first-person shooters every week. Yeah. So I kind of took a break from that. Other than like Halo and Bioshock, I kind of took a break from that. But no, much like you, I'm in the exact same boat. Like, as we mentioned with GTA before, how GTA was becoming the new Skyrim because it was on every platform known to man. Similar story with Skyrim. Like, it's on every platform known to man, yet I still have yet to even play a demo of this game. So once again, maybe it will entice me to pick it up. I'm not entirely sure, but again, like I was saying, just like you, I'm not huge on first-person shooters right now, so I might miss this one out. But who knows? I might, if the reviews come out and it's pretty good, it might just entice me to play it. But always nice to just have a bit more diversity, because I know Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls is really popular anyway. It has its fan base, very, very large fan base at that. Anyway, so after Avowed, we had another world premiere, which was known as Dusk Falls. So As Dusk Falls. I'm struggling to even remember what this game was. Let's see. So I know as soon as I see an image, I'm gonna be. Oh yeah, of course. Okay, so As Dusk Falls, that was the storytelling game, like the one that was like it was like still images in a way. I don't know if you remember this one, but it was like another storytelling game, still images, and it was a lot less animation than the previous storytelling game, compared to Tell Me Why, because it uses like a 2D art style. Just double checking, yeah, like a 2D art style. Also, INT.Night are the developers. I hadn't heard of them before, so I don't know what other games they've worked on, but either way. But yeah, it's kind of like a 2D storytelling game. So unique art style, but not really one that's like pulling me in. I don't know, I would have definitely preferred 3D one, or if it was 2D, maybe a bit more animation, but it was kind of like just still images and a bit of voice acting in between. But again, a really, really vague trailer, or not one that sheds too much light on what's going on. I mean, it shows people being robbed in a shop and being taken hostage, and then after it shows like the life of these other guys. So maybe it's showing the perspective of both families, because it shows the little girl like because it looks like it was her parents that were being held hostage, and it shows her in the later years, and then after it shows one of the guys that looks like he was part of the criminal gang. So maybe it's following the life of both of them. I have no idea, but once again, I usually, you know, my broken record line is the fact that there's not enough gameplay and it's just pure CGI. But in this case, I don't even know. That could very well be the gameplay, and I actually think that might be the gameplay, the 2D images that we see. I don't know, but TakuStarr, did you get a glimpse of this game?
So yeah, so apparently the game is an original interactive drama. So I don't know what that's a new genre they've made up. So yeah, so I don't know, like the art style seems cool. Yeah, it's not really my type of thing, but yeah, it's I'm sure people who like story-based games, adventure games like that, you know, they're in for a sweet ride. But yeah, I was okay.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, I haven't heard much from this company, so I don't know what they've got enough. I don't know how good their storytelling is. Who knows? But I mean, if Tell Me Why doesn't satisfy your thirst, then you can always go in for this game as well. Yeah, going for a bit of As Dusk Falls. So there you go, guys. You got more of a selection for your story-based games. Anyway, so moving on from As Dusk Falls, we have Senua's Saga, aka Hellblade 2. Now this is a game as well I heard a lot of people talking about. A lot of people were really excited for this one. I believe it was revealed back at the Xbox Series X's main reveal. It was like one of those games that was teased. Not too much. Oh, also, it's worth noting as well, this is a Ninja Theory game, so if you're a fan of Ninja Theory, then this might just attract your attention. But as I was saying, a lot of this game so far, like even during the first trailer, it mostly just shows CGI trailers and don't know too much of what's happening. The developer did mention that the game will take place in Iceland, so we got a bit more light shed on its setting. But apart from that, actually, well, you know what? TakuStarr, have you tried the first Hellblade before? Have you?
I don't play Ninja Theory games after what they done to Devil May Cry.
Oh no! Oh no! That DMC reboot. It still stings for a lot of DMC fans. I know.
Stings, yeah.
I know. Yeah, but
no, I haven't played. I haven't played the Sensua's games.
Yeah, same here. Like I haven't really played Hellblade 1, but I know it was a fan favorite, so I can imagine a lot of people will be looking forward to that. But again, as I said, there's not too much to add in this sequel because of the fact that we haven't seen too much, and the fact that it was revealed that it was set in Iceland. That's like the most information that we've received so far. So if you're a fan of Iceland, there you go. A game built right for you. Anyway, I don't have too much else to say, so I'll just move on to our next game, which was another fan favorite and actually a cult classic, which didn't sell too well initially. Initially, when the first one was released way back in 2005, it didn't sell too well, but it received critical. Well, sorry, it was critical success, not quite a commercial success, but built up a cult following, and that is Double Fine's game known as Psychonauts 2. So, as I was saying, Psychonauts has a huge cult following. Follows the story of Raz, a psychic, and well known for its, very, very popular for its comedy. But pretty much just its comedy. Of course, it's a platformer. You get to use the psychic powers, but it was mostly the comedy that it was known for. And again, as someone who's only played a little bit of the first Psychonauts, it was mostly the comedy, and like I used to see YouTube clips all over the place. But either way, looking at this trailer, it shows a little bit of Jack Black doing his singing. Not too much of. Well, actually, let me just talk about the gameplay. Actually, the gameplay first, because luckily this is one of the few games that had gameplay. And if you listen to our previous podcast, you know that games that show gameplay get additional points from me. So again, it shows a bit of just, a bit of Raz platforming in different areas. A bit of it looks like a bit of an acid trip, but if you've played the first Psychonauts, then you know that the whole game is an acid trip. But anyway, he has Raz venturing into the minds of, well, we're not too sure who it is yet, but either way, we get to see that there's quite a bit of platforming involved, like in the previous Psychonauts. We also get to see a bit of the vehicle gameplay known as the Feel-mobile. Yeah, if you guys are kind of confused on what I'm talking about, I assure you I'm not insane. It's just it's exactly what's going on in the gameplay. But yeah, all of that happening to Jack Black singing. So again, if you're a Jack Black fan as well, you get a bit of Jack Black. Hopefully this actually appears in the main game. I'm not too sure if it will do, but either way, they've got Jack Black on board, and I'm already more excited. How about you, TakuStarr? Have you had much experience with the Psychonauts?
I just know about it from like searching through the internet, but this was the first time I'd ever sat down and seen like a trailer, but in the game is trippy as hell.
Exactly, yeah. That pretty much sums up the entire game. Trippy as hell.
Yeah, it seems like I don't know, like a drug trip or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
That is absolutely acid trip the game.
Yeah.
Like,
insane. Yeah. But it looks like a lot of fun though. It's like a lot of fun.
Yeah, very interesting. Like, it stood out. Like, it was one of the games to stand out the most in this showcase for me. Like, just the bright colors and, again, like I was saying, the acid trip. If anything, I did want to see a bit more comedy because, again, like I was saying, in the original Psychonauts, the comedy was like one of, if not the biggest selling points of Psychonauts. So, would have been cool. But I mean, again, it's as far as I'm aware, Double Fine have, I believe it's like the same team or very similar team working on it this time. So hopefully the writing will be just as good this time around. But again, only time will tell. I don't think it'll be coming out for now, but we've got to give them their time to fine tune everything, and of course, hopefully come out of a game that's just as good as the first one. Anyway, so moving on from Psychonauts 2, we have a quick chat about Xbox Game Pass. We kind of already covered that with Phil Spencer, just mentioning how everything on, like, all the games shown today will be on Game Pass, which is quite a big thing. And in addition to that, we have Destiny 2, which is coming, or it's not only is it coming to the Series X, but it will be releasing with all the expansions, and there's going to be a new DLC pack known as Beyond Light coming out on November the 10th of this year. So yeah, Bungie's one of Bungie's biggest games. In terms of Destiny, now I played a little bit of the Destiny beta, the first one's beta, and I didn't really venture into Destiny 2 because I have to admit I'm not a huge Destiny guy. I think it's an alright game, it's a decent game, and from what I've heard, like, it was like, it has its huge fan following as well, of course. And I know Bungie, they like to, they like, especially when they were working on the Halo series, they put a lot of effort into their games. You can always tell that they put their games together with a ton of care. So although Destiny 2, I've been hearing some negatives on that as well. But anyway, I'm not the biggest Destiny guy, but again, another shooter, another fan favorite on the console. I guess it's a win-win situation for the fans and new people that also want to try it out as well. TakuStarr, you Destiny guy? Or is this another shooter, I guess?
It's another shooter for me. Yeah. Another shooter.
Well, you heard it from TakuStarr, guys. Another shooter. Similar to me as well. Like, I mean, maybe I'll try it out at some point as well, but it's just I'm kind of all shooted out. So I don't know. Halo is gonna pretty much take up the rest of my or fill the rest of my first-person shooter quota for the year, I think. So, or maybe I should say next year, because it's coming out next year. But either way, I gotta make space for Halo 2. Oh, sorry, Halo 2? Halo Infinite, sorry. Destiny 2, rather, not Halo 2. Anyway, so moving on from Destiny 2, because I don't really have too much else to add, we have S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. This is another world premiere as well. So, the first S.T.A.L.K.E.R actually released back in 2007. It's actually another Sorry, TakuStarr, you won't be too happy, but another first-person shooter here. It was kind of like a survival horror this time, so a bit different from the Destiny format, but it was a first-person shooter, like a survival horror one. And it was a very successful game. It received quite a lot of awards for like its atmosphere. But yeah, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 coming out here. Again, really a huge fan favorite. I can imagine a lot of people will be excited for that one, but not myself. It would be cool, but yeah, I don't know. TakuStarr, any just before you grab that water, I was gonna say, do you know anything of S.T.A.L.K.E.R or?
I had no idea, but yeah, the fact that it was just another shooter for me was well, at least it was a horror shooter. I don't mind horror shooters as much, but yeah, it looked decent. I've never played the first one, so yeah, I'd be willing to give this a try anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just have a quick intermission while TakuStarr takes a little break. Well, I shall take a bit of a break anyway. You guys probably won't even be able to tell. I'm going to snap my fingers, and it's going to be fully edited out to the next part anyway. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Anyway, just moving on to the next game. So we have Warhammer Dark Tide. That was another world premiere. Warhammer, TakuStarr, I hate to say it, another first-person shooter here again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on a bit of a first-person, or just a shooter streak anyway. I know Destiny wasn't quite first. Well, I think Destiny's a first/third-person shooter, but yeah, no, to top off the first-person shooter, or the shooter trilogy, we have Warhammer Dark Tide. And again, I have to admit, this is a game that I am completely unfamiliar with. Other than, like, I recognize the Warhammer name, but I haven't played any games in the series whatsoever, so I don't have too much to add to it, other than the fact that the CGI trailer was kind of interesting. We didn't get to see gameplay, but it had quite a bit of personality with the soldier, like, hitting the gun. The other one wasn't working, and the soldier was trying to get his gun started, and of course they were like confronted with all the enemies near the end. So CGI trailer looked interesting, but I really want to see that gameplay. TakuStarr, you any experience with Warhammer or?
No experience at all, but I really want to see some gameplay. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah, now that makes two of us. So oh, just by the way, that is coming out 2021. So yeah, but anyway, Warhammer developers, we're waiting on some gameplay. You're gonna need some gameplay to convince us. So moving on to the next game, and probably one of my favorites of the event, possibly my highlight of the event. We have Tetris Effect. This is known as Tetris Effect Connected, a previous PlayStation exclusive brought over to Xbox Series X and just the new gen for Xbox. But not only is it like Tetris Effect, but it's also like optimized single player alongside a new multiplayer, like completely brand new multiplayer mode, which in the original it was like a single player, or the PS4 VR version, it was just like a single player experience, whereas they've added in a multiplayer experience. Now the thing about well, actually I'll leave the negatives. I was gonna mention something a bit negative, but I'll leave that to the end part. But I was gonna say, just the intro part, it showed like all those guys connecting together, and immediately I was like, wait, is this Tetris 99 coming to like the Microsoft consoles? Because that was a huge pull for the Switch. It was kind of like their exclusive take on Tetris. And again, if you're a huge Tetris fan, I know people that love Tetris and they bought a Switch just to try out Tetris 99. And again, it's been a huge success. So yeah, I wouldn't have been too surprised if Xbox tried to snap that one up. But no, Tetris Effect, which was also pretty big on PlayStation. What do you think, TakuStarr? Were you a Tetris Effect guy, or are you a Tetris guy in general?
I'm a poppin Tetris guy, but yeah, and it looked cool. It seemed like another Tetris game with multiplayer. So yeah, like the one on the Switch you were mentioning. So yeah, it just looked exactly like that. Yeah, I like Tetris. I'm not the most I'm not the most skillful Tetris player, but I enjoy playing it every now and then. So yeah, the fact that a Tetris game's coming to the Xbox is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like again,
and it's this holiday season as well. So
exactly. Yeah, very true. Holiday season will be pulling in those sales as well. So Yeah, but like I was saying, like I'm a huge Tetris guy. Tetris 99 is like one of the games, like on my Switch, it's like one of the games that I've logged the most hours into. So I'm definitely a big fan of that, and I know there are a lot of Tetris fans around the world. The negative part that I was going to mention before was just the fact that for PS4, like one of the biggest, because again that was like I know it was critical success. I'm pretty sure it was a commercial success as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I know it was really, very popular game. But I was going to say, one of the biggest draws, or a lot of things, or a lot of the positives that I heard from people was the fact that it had that VR effect, and it was like a new way to experience Tetris. Everyone was just talking about that VR being such a mind-blowing experience, and just the fact that Xbox doesn't have like a VR system or anything. So I'm just wondering whether the experience will be diminished. I don't know, but either way, Tetris is always welcome in this household. I know some people that will buy the console alone just to play Tetris, believe it or not. But yeah, there are people out there that really love their Tetris, and I'm definitely amongst the people that love their Tetris. So Tetris Effect Connected, definitely something I'm looking forward to. And also it's coming 2020, so you guys won't have to wait too long either. It'll be in your hands very, very shortly. So anyway, moving on to another game, another world premiere, and a series that I know both of us are pretty invested in. I mean, maybe not the new ones, but in terms of like the old ones, Dreamcast version or GameCube version, definitely a huge favorite of mine, or one of the games that I've invested the most hours into, and that of course is Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Now, again, like I was saying, we kind of invested a lot of time into episode 1 and 2, the classic GameCube / Dreamcast version. But this New Genesis, yeah, they did, didn't they? Well, actually, wasn't it like a different version, or it was? Yeah,
like
Xbox.
An enhanced version.
Yeah, it was like an enhanced version. It wasn't quite the same, because I remember some people saying, they were a bit upset that it wasn't like exactly the same. I don't know the exact changes that they had, but it was a bit different from the classic ones. But yeah, it's very similar as well, so one of the classics. But the ones that I really remember were like the Dreamcast and GameCube ones the most, so that was pretty cool. But no, like I was saying with Phantasy Star Online New Genesis, it was actually released. I mean, this isn't a brand new game, it's more like an expansion in a way, but in terms of North America, this is a new one because it hasn't yet been released on like these consoles yet. But no, I was going to mention that it was released way back in 2012. Believe it or not, 2012, July the 4th for Japan. So the Japanese have had this game for quite some time. So they won't. I can imagine they won't be too hyped for this one. But in terms of like the people over here in the West, will definitely be a lot more hyped. Actually, one thing to note as well is that they mentioned, or after I did a bit of research, they mentioned that this is like just a North American release, a free-to-play game, but it's like just a North American release. So they haven't mentioned anything about a European release date, or pretty much anywhere outside of North America and Japan. They haven't mentioned any release dates there, but for North American players, this must be quite a hype game for them. But in terms of gameplay, it just looks a lot like a Xenoblade Chronicles, like Phantasy Star Online meets, Phantasy Star Universe meets Xenoblade Chronicles, with such like huge expansive worlds and so on. But yeah, TakuStarr, any thoughts? I know again you're
I'm a bit, as you know, where
yeah,
this is like been playing episode 1 and 2 when we were kids back in the day, so like the fact that this is even coming over here is super hype. So I think it's launching on nearly everything, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
And
a lot of consoles.
Switch,
oh, is it Switch as well? Is it Switch as well?
I think so.
Oh, right, that's interesting. I hope so.
The fact that even Sega's bringing this out is amazing. Like, they've been on the A game lately. Well, with everything else apart from Sonic. So
yeah. We'll get to that in a future stream. Don't worry, there'll be a Sonic stream in the future. We need to talk about that franchise. But for now, yeah, Phantasy Star, Sega seem to be on the rule. They seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah. I'm super hyped for it. So I've been waiting for this for ages. So can't wait to start playing without having to like log into like servers, Japanese servers and stuff like that. So that's awesome.
Same as well. Huge Phantasy Star Online fan here. As I said, I didn't play much of Universe, but I mean, or episode 3 either, but in terms of episode 1 and 2, really good memories with that one. Also, well, yeah, like I mentioned, that was like a North American release, and they haven't mentioned Europe too much, but I think it will be here eventually. Actually, in terms of like the gameplay, as I was saying, I'm not too familiar with the newer ones, but from like fan feedback and what a lot of people have been saying, some of the real details in the trailer is that they noticed that some skills, that the main character was using some skills that usually only certain classes can use, but it seemed as though he was like switching between these skills. So that looks like it's a new feature for New Genesis, and just another.
It seems more agile. Like the characters seem more agile. They're moving around a lot more. It just seems it's more like it seems more like a Devil May Cry or like hack and slash game, but with RPG elements mixed with Monster Hunter. It's like
exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. It's like a Xenoblade Chronicles meets Monster Hunter. So yeah, a lot more agile and just a lot more movement in the classic games. You know, back in our days, we had stiff movement. We had 2 animations, cardboard cutout swinging, but it was still, the animations might not have been the best, but the gameplay was still top notch gameplay. Yeah. Sega were ahead of their time. I think that was like the first, or at least the first game I can remember that had online, first console game.
It was the first online RPG on console.
Yeah. Like the first MMORPG, like the Dreamcast. That technology, that was all brand new. So again, I think Sega were really ahead of their time. And if not just for the nostalgia alone, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this game, or having this game finally in my hands. Anyway, so after Phantasy Star Online 2, this is another game that I really don't have too much experience with, and that was Crossfire X. Now, from what I saw, it was like mostly just CGI. It was just like CGI stuff, wasn't it? And actually, no, wait, am I missing games? No, sorry, wait, what am I doing? I've missed 2 games here, I think. Oh no! See, I was just so excited to talk about Phantasy Star. I missed 2 games in between Tetris. So if I go back quickly, rewind time, after Tetris Effect, it was actually it was another world premiere, but it was the Gunk. So this was again not a game that I'll probably go out and buy an Xbox for, or a Series X for, but the Gunk. It showed a bit of gameplay. A woman on like an extraterrestrial, like an alien planet, and it seems as though she's been tasked to clean up exactly what you see in the title of the game, Gunk. So it's like some like some alien species or something. Why she's there, no idea. What's going on, no idea. But either way, there's a lot of Gunk. As far as the eye can see, as in case the title didn't give it away. But once again, interesting art style. It's kind of like a cel shaded style of the game, and as you guys can see, I'm really reaching for some explanations here, just because there's not too much else to talk about other than the gameplay. So I don't know, TakuStarr, did you get to see any of the
I saw the game. I thought it looked cool. Nice to have a black lady, I think, as a protagonist, so there's a bit of diversity there. And the game's from the dudes that made the SteamWorld franchise.
Nice.
So if you ever played the SteamWorld franchise, these are the devs. So yeah, the game looks cool, and especially they've only made 2D games, so it's nice to see them make like a 3D game. Yeah, definitely something to look forward to.
Interesting, actually. I didn't even know much about the about SteamWorld, but I've heard a bit about it, and it was quite popular with fans, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I have to admit, like I wasn't too impressed by this one.
Oh, seriously?
I need to see more. I need to see more. Like,
yeah. I was looking at it from the fact that from previous games that the devs have made, this is an improvement, not improvement, but this is a step up to what they've normally done. So that's why I was impressed by it. So.
And like you said, did you say this was like their first 3D venture?
This is from me anyway that I've seen them make. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to shift the new Xbox Series X for me.
It's not. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but it might. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not one for me. It's not one for me. But let's wait and see. I'll try and keep a close eye on it and see what happens. So maybe who knows? Maybe it will shift my attention. But anyway, following the Gunk, another game that I missed out, we have The Medium. Now, if I can remember, yeah. So The Medium. Funnily enough, this game was actually announced way back in 2012, and it was originally going to be for Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii U. So, of course, it didn't quite make the cut there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Wii U. Oh, geez, I think half of the viewers now just remembered what a Wii U is. But anyway. Yeah, no, didn't quite make the cut. Of course, it skipped a console generation, and now it's being slated for Series X. I mean, it's going to be an Xbox exclusive launch, so it will eventually make its way to the other platforms, like I can imagine PS5 and possibly Switch. But either way, looks like it's finally coming out for the next gen. So I have to admit, this was another game that was a huge highlight for me. I was really impressed by what I saw. So it shows like a multi-dimension style gameplay. So for example, you'll be like walking down a hallway, and then it would show like demons and stuff in a different perspective. And again, just really cool art style. Really interested to see what they'll make of this game, because I was quite impressed by it so far. But again, not too much. I mean, there was little snippets of gameplay. At least I think it was gameplay, but I just really liked the art direction. Like when she was cutting open the wall, like it was like it looked like a normal wall at first, but then after it was like a weird like creature from hell. I don't know. It's like they've gone to the Doom universe or something. But either way, I like that idea of flipping between dimensions. Oh, and if they let you like switch between dimensions at will, kind of like, I don't know if you've seen like Halo 2 Anniversary. Like when they switch between, like if you press the back button, you can like flip between the classic and the like. Even Halo 1 Anniversary and Halo 2 Anniversary, like you could flip between the classic and modern graphics in an instant. So I'm hoping it will be something similar like that. But I don't know. We have to wait and see what they do with this game. But so far, I'm quite impressed. I just want to see a bit more gameplay. How about you, TakuStarr? Have you been?
Yeah, no, I thought like you said, the art style looked good. I'm so interested in seeing, because there was two characters that were shown doing stuff at the same time. So I don't know if there's like a switching mechanic where you can go to one world and then something else happens. So yeah, it looks interesting. Definitely, if I do buy an Xbox, that's definitely one to watch.
Yeah.
Me anyway.
Same here. Same. That was one of the games that I can see myself getting day one if it continues to look impressive like that. But we'll have to wait and see. We have had some disappointing games in the past. We've had the Alien Colonial Marines effect, and going even further back, we've had a certain blue hedgehog certain blue hedgehogs on a next gen console. So but anyway, enough about blue hedgehogs. Let's look at the next game. Well, actually, it was Phantasy Star Online 2, but of course we've already spoke about that. TakuStarr, do you feel like I missed anything on Phantasy Star New Genesis?
No, I think that was everything.
Yeah, we had
yeah,
we spoke quite a bit about it anyway. But oh yeah, and it's free to play, which I don't know if I mentioned. I think I mentioned it, but either way, yeah. So like I was saying, it's a game that I'm definitely looking forward to. So anyway, oh yes, I was supposed to go to Crossfire X before. That was one I didn't mention, or I didn't go into too much detail. That's before I realized the mistake. And TakuStarr, you might not be expecting this genre. What? Yeah, there we go. We have another shooter. How did you guess? But no, again, it was mostly CGI trailers. We got little snippets of like the weapons and stuff. We see melee. There's a bit of gliding there as well. It seems like varied locations, but again, it's, at the end of the day, it is another well, in terms of like what they've shown so far in the trailers, we can't really gauge too much other than the fact that it's like a first person shooter, and it's like, it looks like a more modern one. I'll give them that. And it's like, the guy has like a night vision scope on, so maybe there'll be elements of stealth or something. But either way, from the trailer, it looks like it's like a fast-paced FPS game. TakuStarr, once again, I have to ask your opinion on these on this first-person shooter. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hyped were you there?
0. Game. It looks pretty though.
Yeah.
But, it's a 0 from me.
Yeah.
Not the game doesn't look bad. It's just like we've seen so many of them. There's so many of them on the market. Like
You're very true. It seems quite oversaturated with those first-person shooters at the moment, and so far in the showcase, there's been a fair share of first-person shooters. So I can imagine. I can completely understand why you're not that hyped. I mean, I have to admit, maybe I'm 0.5 at most. So slightly, but still not super hyped.
Yeah.
My notes were flying away there. But again, I have absolutely nothing to add to Crossfire X. Again, like you said, it looked all right. So I mean, the graphics, it looked quite nice. So there's that. But other than that, not really too hyped. Anyway, so this was actually more or less near the end of the showcase. So the section after Crossfire X just showed a small reel of the previous games, and then it had another CEO. Was it Matt Booty, I think it was, or one of the CEOs talking and just mentioning about how the different, like the variety of different game studios and 343 Industries, Obsidian, Rareware, Undead Labs, and so on and so on. And of course, once again, they mentioned about Games Pass and how you can get all the games on Game Pass. After that, just before they were about to leave, they did show one more game, and that was another heavy hitter. Well, they started with a heavy hitter, and Microsoft tried to end with a heavy hitter as well, and that was Fable. From Playground Games, there's Fable, and again, there wasn't like a title for this one. It was just known as Fable, and again, no actual gameplay, just CGI trailer. We have the fairy coming in, and the narrator again with the usual Fable humor. But again, we couldn't gauge too much. It was, in my opinion, quite a funny trailer. You had the fairy, all the mythical stuff like normal, but of course things didn't work out like a fairy tale with the fairy being eaten by the toad immediately. So classic Fable comedy there. Not really too much information on it, like when it's coming out or anything, but I guess this was kind of just like a indication of the fact that a Fable game is in development. But I've played a little bit of I think it was Fable 2 that I played. I haven't played the first one, but I played a little bit of Fable 2, and it was decent. I quite enjoyed it, but I know it has a huge fan base behind it, so I can imagine a lot of people will be happy about that one. How about you, TakuStarr? Any personal experience with the Fable series?
I think I played the third one on the 360, I think.
All right.
I played that one. Played a bit of it. It was okay. It just seemed to me, Fable just seems like a westernized Zelda, but
yeah, you're not wrong. I can see the comparison.
Yeah, but my brother's a big fan, so he's definitely looking forward to Fable.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice, yeah. No, again, I know there are a ton of Fable fans out there. So again, I think this was like one of the heavy hitters of the showcase, and of course that was a world premiere. So that was the first time that we knew that the Fable game was in development. Even though there were like rumors, this was the 100% confirmation. But anyway, I haven't got too much else to add. So I think that about wraps it up. Overall, my overall thoughts, I thought it was all right. I mean, actually, TakuStarr, do you wanna chime in? What did you think about this?
It was okay. I think it was all right in terms of it's still early in the console. Like these are early games, so I don't expect like developers to be chefing out like all their games that they're working on. So it was a good show out. Like I've said previously, it would have been nice for them to show some more Japanese games.
Yeah, very true.
Like because I know Microsoft doesn't do so well in the Japanese territory, so maybe that's like a thing they could have,
touched on some more on.
touched on, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I know I wouldn't expect you to see it because it was kind of like in the pre-show and they didn't highlight it in the main show, or in the main showcase. I mean, but they did announce that Dragon Quest 11 Definitive Edition, Definitive Edition will be coming to Xbox. So I can see that they're trying to make a bit of a push for the Japanese audience.
But what I mean is, as in exclusives.
No, I agree as well. Like they didn't have like any major, like even like new RPGs. It's like Dragon Quest 11. I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got a Switch, you can play it on the Switch. If you've got PS4, you can play it on the PS4. I mean, it's kind of like the PS4 version is like the outdated version, but I mean, the Switch has this is like, as far as I'm aware, it's going to be the same version as the Switch version.
Same version, and it runs better. But they just need to, this is why with Xbox, this is my biggest gripe with it. They just don't. I like Japanese games.
Yeah.
So it's just they never catered to that market. So I was thinking to myself, why do I really want to get in? Because they did with 360, they did try early on.
Yeah, they had like the Tales games, didn't they? Like Vesperia and so on.
Something Sonata or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. They had they had all these different Japanese games.
Much better variety,
Yeah, and I mean they did try, but I think it'd be a completely different. Now, if they tried now, I think people will receive them in a different way, just because the industry's changed so much of how people consume games and stuff like that. People like anime, people like they travel a lot more to go to Japan and stuff. So I'd like them to at least put on some Japanese games. Another thing, there wasn't any. There's Chinese devs as well that are making games as well. So there wasn't any Chinese Chinese developers showcased. There was just a lot of Western devs games that were shown. So I mean, they kind of need. I'd like Microsoft to cover those territories in their games as well. Diversify the Xbox library.
That was one of my negatives as well. Actually, it was the lack of games to appeal to like a wider audience, like a Japanese audience with the RPGs and so on. Also, of course, actually, before I go into the negatives, I was going to say maybe I should mention a few of the pros. I got to keep things balanced.
I didn't finish that. Everyone thinks I'm being I'm down, but I thought it was a good.
No, I think that's a common criticism. Especially even on the normal Xbox One as well. Like that was a common criticism. It's one of my biggest negatives here as well. Because I was going to say I have a few more to say about the negatives than the pros. I think so. I was going
to. I just say, obviously, compared to the launch of Xbox One, this is miles better than what
miles
5 years ago.
Miles better. I don't think you can get any worse than the Xbox One launch. That was, I mean, the next water cooler. That was their slogan. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of that one, I was kind of asking myself, does it play games? Because they were showing a lot of like Madden and streaming, and that was a train wreck. But either way, I was going to say the pros for this one, I quite liked. I liked their range of games, like 2020 and 2021 games. Like they showed a good range of games that will come in this year and games that will come in next year as well. So they kind of covered both years. That was good. Game Pass as well. The Game Pass, the fact that not only I don't know if they mentioned it in the actual in this showcase event, but they're getting rid of like the Xbox Gold membership, like online fees, and it's all going to be part of Game Pass. So that's a huge thing. Although part of that is a negative as well, and I'll get to that in a bit. But also the fact that a lot of them, like some of the games like Grounded, available now on Xbox One, and also once Xbox Series X releases later, then you'll be able to play that later on the Series X, free of charge if you already own it on the normal Xbox, and that's the same with all the games that they've done so far. And lastly, and probably my biggest pro, Tetris and more Tetris, always an extra point in my book. But TakuStarr, do you have any positives?
So positives, the Phantasy Star Online 2 being shown.
Of course, yeah.
And obviously, another positive, even though it wasn't in the conference itself, was Balan Wonderland.
Yes, that was another one.
Yeah. Obviously, me and you being big fans of like old school Sonic Team games.
Pretty much, yes.
that's like an amalgamation of everything we grew up playing. So that, you know, even though the game in terms of production value isn't the greatest, it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, no, that's one I kind of before I rewatched this, I assumed, like, I thought that it appeared in this showcase, but I was kind of surprised when I didn't cover it today. But yeah, actually, let's do you want to talk about that quickly? Because
we can talk about it.
Yeah.
We might as well just wrap it up with that. Anyway.
I guess we could do, maybe just wrap it up before we talk about the pros and the cons and stuff. But no, that was absolutely screamed Knights. I mean, Yuji Naka, well known for Knights. Of course, Knights wasn't like a huge, I don't think it was a huge commercial success, but it has a cult following. It's kind of like with Psychonauts, it has a cult following. And Balan Wonderworld absolutely got me thinking of like a Knights meets Billy Hatcher type thing, with all the different costumes and that, which was really cool to see. But no, I'm definitely, again, we're big Knights fans, so it's definitely something we want to see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely day one for me. It's just a nice surprise.
Yeah,
glad to see some people. Well, there's still like a market for those kind of titles as well.
Still a market, still fans out there wanting that type of gameplay.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to that. And even the trailer was quite like the trailer was so Japanese. Only a Japanese developer could get away with a title like that. If a Western developer tried making a trailer like that, it'd be really corny. But
it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You need that Yuji Naka magic in order to make that trailer work properly.
Yeah.
But
definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here. It was definitely one of my highlights of whichever reveal event it was seen. It was whichever event it was revealed, which I can't even remember the one that it was revealed at. But either way, I'm really excited for that. But anyway, those were most of the pros that I had for it. And actually, on the negatives, of course, we already covered the fact that it was kind of lacking the games to appeal to the Japanese audience. Other than Halo, I mean, actually, another thing, and this was a huge criticism of both the PS5 one and the Xbox One, but probably the Xbox One more so, the gameplay, just lacking gameplay. Too many like CGI trailers, not showing much gameplay. I mean, I
think I would just love it if developers stopped doing that. But I mean, I understand why they do it. It's to build up hype for pre-orders and stuff like that, so investors can see how much money and all that stuff's going in. But it's kind of a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, very true. And I have to admit though, I'm trying not to tear down the companies too much this time, because I know this year we've had like a huge crisis, virus and everything, so I can imagine certain things might be delayed and they might not be able to like pull in like a proper press conference, and communication with other companies might be a bit difficult and it might delay things. But we really need some gameplay. We're gamers, we need gameplay. We need to know what we're getting into before we purchase these games.
Yeah.
But of course, as you said, we're kind of beating a dead horse at this point. Everyone knows that we do want that gameplay. But so another thing as well, there weren't really too many heavy hitters. I mean, of course, we had Master Chief of Halo Infinite, and then we had Fable ending it as well. But compared to like the PS5 reveal event, they had Spider-Man, they had Ratchet and Clank, they had Horizon, just a ton of exclusives that a lot of fans are really, really looking forward to. And of course, the key word being exclusives as well, because a lot of these games, as you guys know, Xbox's main marketing thing seems to be the fact that you can get this on not only normal Xbox, not only Series X, but you can also get it on normal Xbox One X alongside PC. And it kind of leaves you wondering, is there any point of getting a Series X? I mean, especially the fact that you can get practically all of these games on the normal Xbox One X. So it makes you kind of wonder, do I really want to upgrade?
Yeah.
And of course, go ahead.
I was just going to finish off and just say, I think one thing I'd like Xbox to do this generation, they need to make IP, like, they need to start thinking, because now they've got the studios, they need to start thinking about making like really good series and making it, because that's one thing they don't. That Sony kind of done the last 2 generations. They've got IP now, so
of course, yeah, and they've
do that.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you were saying as well, like they've grabbed the huge franchises, like you said, like they've got Insomniac, and of course that means they've got access to, or exclusive access to Spider-Man, which is a massive game, which I'm sure people will buy the console just to play. But yeah, actually, one thing I was going to say on the positive side, I know it wasn't mentioned in this reveal, but a really good thing that Xbox are doing is just the fact that, like all the classic Xbox One X controllers will be working with Series X. So, say for example, you have like a group of friends, and you know, like 3 other friends, you want to play some 4-player multiplayer co-op or couch co-op or so on. Then all you have to do is just grab some previous Xbox One X controllers. So you won't have to be taking out a loan just to buy some controllers. But unfortunately, with I don't know if we mentioned in the PS5 reveal, but fortunately, Sony did confirm that you will only be able to use your PS4 controller with selected backwards compatible games. So that's a bit not as consumer friendly, I guess, but it's just something to note. Definitely, if someone's already got an Xbox One, like for example, I've got an Xbox One X, and it would kind of make me want to upgrade. Like if I can save money on controllers and other extra peripherals, then I'd be more enticed to pick up a Series X. But yeah, of course, with all the different consoles or platforms that it's available, and it still begs the question whether I should get one or not. And of course, the biggest factor as well, or biggest negative, that both Xbox and Sony, or both Microsoft and Sony, are culprits of, is not announcing the final price for the consoles. Like, still absolutely no idea how much these are going to cost, and they're only a few months away at this point. So that's definitely a big negative in my opinion. TakuStarr, did you get anything else to add, or any other negatives?
No, that was it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, decent show out. I just hope Microsoft focuses more on trying to bring more games that are not shooters. Start looking at Chinese developers and Japanese developers to sort of diversify the Xbox game library. Then now new studios start making IP, you know, that you can make movies out of and stuff like that. So they need those heavy hitters just like Sony. And of course they got to drag in that Japanese audience. They need to grab that Japanese audience. They need to grab the Chinese audience as well, because that's a big market.
Very true. Yeah, very big.
Probably the biggest market. Yeah. And actually, it's quite easy. It's good for them because they've already got the PC market as well. So if they can find a way to leverage their Xbox on PC as well, that'd be really good for them.
Very true. Yeah, they got that PC. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know pretty much everyone's got a PC at this point, or a lot of people got PCs. So it'll be an easier market to break into than trying to sell them Xbox consoles. But anyway, TakuStarr, what are your overall thoughts if you had to give this one a rating? I know we rated the PS5 reveal last week. I know you gave it. Did you give it? It was a 7.5.
I gave it a 7.5. Yeah, so I'd probably give this a 7.
7. All right, nice. Yeah. No. Same here. Last week when I rated the PS5 one, I rated it 8.5. And this one, I think I'd also rate a 7 as well. It had a decent lineup of games, just not enough to appeal to like a wide enough audience. And of course, pretty much all the negatives that we just mentioned. Too many first-person shooters, not enough gameplay. Also, similar criticism of PS5 or Sony's one as well. But there you have it, guys. That's our overall thoughts of the Xbox July Games Showcase. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed watching this, please leave a like and consider subscribing for any future content. Of course, we have a lot more podcasts lined up for the near future. And once again, TakuStarr, did you say you haven't quite made your platforms yet? But
we'll get to it. And any more content you guys would like us to do in the future, just Outlook client say, just leave it in the comment section and we'll reply back to you. Just get engaging with us so we know the kind of content you guys want.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, again, thanks again for watching, guys. Of course, next time we'll be back with another podcast, probably speaking about Nintendo this time, because as all things, we will try and keep these podcasts balanced, as all things should be. Anyway, thanks again, guys, and until next time, peace out.